shadow in the government's game. Pawn as a child with no face and no name. They stole my past to leave me cold and alone. Always searching for a place that could call home. I was lost in the dark, just a tool in the hand, till she pulled me close and helped me understand. Now the fire inside is starting to rise. I can see the truth through 1,000 lies. Now I tear through the veil, leave holes in the sky. I can read every thought in the blink of an eye. Danica, my witch, she's the magic in me. Yeah, I finally found what they took from me. With a hellhound beside me, I'm standing my ground. No longer a ghost that's never been found. In the dead of the night, I can hear the call. All the ghosts of my past scratching through the wall. My eyes change colors, the power has grown. With Crowley the Hound, I'm never alone. I used to be hollow, a man made of glass, but now I am reclaiming every year that has passed. Every memory is falling right back into place. I know every name and I remember every face. Now I tear through the veil, leave holes in the sky. I can read every thought in the blink of an eye. Danica, my witch, she's a magic in me. Yeah, I finally found what they took from me. With a hellhound beside me, I'm standing my ground. No longer a ghost that's never been found. I ain't running no more, yeah, I'm ready to fight. Gonna settle that debt in the depth of the night. They tried to break me, they tried to erase, but they can't hide the blood from the scars on my face. The veil is thin and the engine is hot. I'm taking back everything that they thought I forgot. Now I tear through the veil, leave holes in the sky. I can read every thought in the blink of an eye. Danica, my witch, she's the magic in me. Yeah, I finally found what they took from me. With a tailhound beside me, I'm standing my ground. No longer a ghost that's never been found. I remember it all now. Every single face, I'm calling for you in the dead of the night.
Hello, everybody. My name's Henry. For those of you that don't know, for those of you that do know, welcome back. Tonight, I'm going to talk about ghosts and how these animals, like people, when you're losing a pet, another one comes in to help you over the grieving process until you can fill that spot again. Now, this story is true because it happened to me. And there's a few twists and turns in it, but I think you'll find it pretty interesting and might even enjoy it. Well, before I got settled down and found my witch, my wife, which she is a witch, I had a dog. It was a Staffordshire pit bull. He was a black and brown brindle. Well, let me give you a rundown on this thing. I was going through a rough patch, and my daughter, in her infinite wisdom, because she was chasing boys, she decided that I needed a buddy. So, mother dog had got old, passed on, and We searched high and low, and finally, one day, in the computer website, there was an ad. It didn't tell all the truth, but we'll get to that. I'll get to the bottom of it for you. It said, litter of Staffordshire Pit Bull pups. Free. Well, sounded okay to me. So we went down so I could see these pups. Well, I didn't know when we called the number, it was to a police department. And they didn't say nothing either. They didn't answer it, such and such police department. It must have been like a private line in there or something. Well, they was telling about the pups. Give us the address. And said they'll be expecting me. Well, me and my daughter headed that away. They supposedly was just weaned. Boy, did I get a shock. We drove down to this town. Jesus Christ. If I'd known how rough the area would have been, trust me, I'd have been packing. But we went anyway, and there was all kinds of shady characters roaming them streets, and we'd take this street, that street. Finally come to the street where these pups were located. Okay, we're getting warm, at least now we're on the right street. We started watching the house numbers, and nothing. It's like we missed it. Like, how did we miss this? So, I told my daughter, I said, pull over and I'm going to call them people. There ain't no way we could have missed it. We called. Well, this lady answered the phone this time. So, she goes, where are you at? So I told her the address. She goes, well, I'm just a few minutes from you. I said, well, which way do I need to go? She said, no, you just wait there. We see your vehicle now. I said, okay. Well, she come, did a U in the road, and went like this. So we followed her. It wasn't even 2 blocks up there. Pulling this alley, wind around, and there was the house. What they neglected to tell us was, instead of it being a full number, it was a number and a half. Yeah. Well, we pull in there, and she goes, I'll be right back. She said, if the female gets out, just stand in one spot. She won't bother you. Okay. Well, we were standing close to the car anyway. Her and this other lady come out this great big, huge, giant box. I mean, it's huge. How you could have put a work machine inside of it? They grabbed the bottom of that box and tilted it up. All these pups come out. Hell, there was probably 12 of them. So I played around with them and petting them. Then I sat down on the ground there, and they started playing amongst themselves. So this one, he come over where I was at, and he acted like he wanted me to pet him, so I reached down and tried to pet him, and he kind of skittished off and got probably about 3 or 4 foot, and he turned around and started growling. So I kept talking to him. Finally, he come up out of that, just out of reach. So I just turned my back to him. I said, okay, you want to play hard to get? Fine. I turned my back to him. Curiosity got the better of him, and he finally peeked around. So I turned back away from him again. Eventually, he come up there and was sitting in my lap, and I started petting him. Like this one here, this is the one I want. So I started to pick him up, and he was okay, because the mother pup was there. She just kept looking at me real funny, this lady. But I just happened to notice this cop pulled in, and I was like, uh-oh. I wonder what this is all about. Cop looks at me, and he goes, hey, come here. So I walk over to the cop car, and it's like, yeah, what do you want? He goes, did she say anything about that pup? No, why? Is he already spoken for or what? She goes, that cop's like, those pups are supposed to be free. That's why I was just getting to that point. He said, I'll sit here. So I walked back over to her and I said, so these pups are free? She goes, not hardly. I said, well, that ain't what I was told. That ain't what the ad said. She goes, I want $75. $75, huh? Cash preferably. So I figured that much. I had a couple $100 in pocket, so I told her, here, hold the pup. I reached back, got my billfold out. So I said, that cop got out of the car and come up there and he goes, what are you doing? I said, I'm paying her for the pup. He goes, no, you'll pay me. I said, oh, you're her husband. He goes, no. Her and her husband and that lady there got caught running a dog fight ring. We have their male dog at the veterinary clinic. Her husband's in jail, and she's going to charge you for the dog. You just pay it straight to me, and I'll take it to the police department. I was kind of looking like, what the hell did I get myself into? So I give him the $75. He wrote me out a receipt. She had to sign it and date it. Then she give it to me. Said paid in full. So I grabbed the pup, headed back to the vehicle, and daughter got in and she said, God damn. I said, yeah. I said, let's get the hell out of here. So she started the vehicle and that pup went friggin' crazy. He was a biting and a snapping. I mean, it was like somebody flipped a crazy switch. He went loco train. So the only way I could control him was grab him by the nape of the neck, by that skin that's real loose like the mama dogs do. And I was holding him. He fought me all the way home trying to get a piece of me. And he was a little bitty old thing. Hell, he wasn't much bigger than my hand. Well, got him to the house, and I thought, well, he's going to get a bath, because he reeked. So I went in and run some water, got him by the nape of the neck again, and started getting him wet to give him a bath with some baby shampoo. Somehow he had wriggled around and got free, and he chopped me a good one around the finger. Luckily, he only had a couple of teeth. So I caught him, rolled him up in a towel. I thought, well, I wonder how old he really is. When I opened his mouth, he only had about 4 or 5 teeth. There ain't no way that dog was weaning age. So luckily I had some canned puppy food and some real small puppy kibble. Well, after he got a bath, I went in and put wood in the wood stove, set his food down and his little water thing down. Well, he had laid there in that little baby basket, rolled up in that towel by that wood stove, getting warm. And then he started getting lively. That little bastard took off underneath the couch. I couldn't get to him. So I checked his food and water. I went and plopped on the couch and fell asleep. Alarm went off to tell me that the wood stove needed more wood before it went completely dead. So I turned the light on, went over and put wood in the stove. I looked in that basket, he wasn't there. So I got the flashlight, shined under the couch. There he was, backed in the corner. Oh, you little bastard. Hell with him, leave him there. So I went back, set the timer, and went back to sleep. A few more hours passed, and the alarm went off again, so I got up to go put wood in the stove. There he was, curled up in his basket. So I just put wood in the stove and used the bathroom, come back, and he was watching me. I ain't even reached for him. I went back, laid on the couch, went to sleep. Next morning, about 4 a.m., I got to put wood in the stove again. He was sitting there in his basket looking at me, just setting up. I said, well, you gonna bite me or what? He had kind of cocked his head and looked at me, so I reached down and quickly grabbed him by the nape of the neck, put his little sweater on him, trying not to get bit. Go out the front door and got him in my arm. So I'm holding on to him. I go out there and pee in the yard. I didn't know if he was potty trained or not. We kept looking. So when I got done, I set him down there. He smelled where I peed and he peed. Okay. So then he walked a little ways and he stopped and did his 10-200. I reached down and snatched him up, took him in the house, set him by the wood stove in that little basket. About 3 or 4 days of that, and he was broke to potty train. He broke himself. But then he'd come up there by the couch, put his front feet up there, and I reached down and behind the front leg, pick him up, put him on the couch with me. He'd curl up in the blanket, down by my legs. One night, my house was a little crazy sometimes. We was sitting there one night after I'd had him a few weeks. We was watching TV one night and had all the lights off, just TV going, and wood stove was going. That crazy pup, he was curled up down there between my knees. I was laying there on my back watching TV. Well, my mom had called, so I answered the phone. While we was talking, I heard something in the kitchen. So I told Mom, hold on just a minute. I said, I hear something. So I'm looking. I don't see nothing. Well, that pup had climbed up and poked his head out from under the cover. And I seen him growling toward the bathroom door. So I look in that direction. I see that bathroom door open. I seen it go shut, but it didn't click. I watched about 2 or 3 times, like, what the fuck? So I told my mom, I said, is it really windy outside or what? She goes, why? I said, the fucking bathroom door keeps opening and shutting. She goes, I told you that house where you live in that's haunted. Well, we talked for a few minutes, and I kept watching that door. Open, shut, open, shut. So finally she said, well, I gotta go. Make sure you check the cows in the morning and the horse. It's okay. So she hung up. So I get up and walk in there toward the bathroom. The door just quit. So I turned the lights on, walked through the house, and I don't see nothing. So I went in the kitchen, got something to drink. I thought for sure that pup would follow me, but he didn't. So I got back up on the couch and pulled the cover back, and there he was looking. So I pulled the cover back over, and we was sitting there. I was just about ready to doze off. My alarm went off, so I put wood in the stove, got back on the couch, started just about to doze off again, and I thought it was the pup, and the pup thought it was me. The fucking blanket. It didn't just fly off of us. No, it was like somebody pulled it, and it went off to the side, onto the floor, and took off down the hallway, around the corner into the fucking bedroom back there. That pup cocked his head and looked at me, and I looked at him and was like, fuck if I know. So I sat there for a few minutes trying to shake the cobwebs out and figure out what the hell just happened. Now he's sitting there cocking his head, look at me, and he cocked his head the other way, and he looked toward the bathroom. I was like, yeah, our blanket just took off. You ought to go get it. Well, hell, he wasn't, like I said, too much bigger than your hand, about the size of a cell phone. He was looking at me like, you go get it. Yeah, you chicken shit. So I got up, checked the stove again, went into the bathroom, into the bedroom. There was that blanket, folded up, on the bed. So I picked it up, went back in there, and the pup's still sitting there like, cocking his head looking at me. It was like, I got the blanket, chicken shit. Make me go get it. So I covered both of us up, turned the TV off, laying there, just got to sleep real good. Well, I felt the pup come out the foot of the blanket, on top of the blanket, then he started whining, and I was like, shit. So I got up, set him in the floor, just trying to figure out what the hell he was doing. He goes to the door, so I put his little sweater thing on him, picked him up, carried him outside, let him do his business. He got done, I picked him up, carried him back in the house, and wiped his little feet off. I put wood in the stove. Went back to the couch, and here he comes. So I picked him up. Back under the blanket he went. Good. So I'm laying there sleeping. And I thought, I'm going to try something. So I carried the alarm into the bedroom. I rolled him up in that blanket, went back there to the bedroom, set the blanket down. He come up where I was laying, so I picked him up, put him in those blankets, and then threw that blanket over top of both of us, on top of the other blankets. That pup lay there for a while, then he come up between me and the wall, laid there, and I could hear him. Why, you little sawed-off bastard, you, what you growling at? So, I kept watching him. He'd raise up and look, and he'd peek down. Finally, he went between the bed and the wall, under the bed. What the hell's wrong with you? So I shined light under the bed, and he's up there in the far corner. Like, I'm going to sleep. The alarm's going to go off here in a few hours, and I got to get up and put wood in the stove. So I laid there and went back to sleep. And I could still hear him underneath that bed growling. So I got good and asleep over the growling. Sure enough, alarm goes off, so I get up, go into the living room, put wood in the stove. Here come the pup. He's looking toward the door, and he's like charged, and he stopped. He did that a few times, and I kept looking. I didn't see nothing. So I turned the light on. I kept watching. What the hell's he looking at? Turned to look in the direction he's looking. I see the door handle on the door doing this. What the hell? And all of a sudden you'd see it like somebody was trying to turn it, and I had it locked. Plus I had a deadbolt. So I'm watching this door handle, I'm like, what the hell? So I grabbed the poker that you poke the wood with in the stove. Like, I don't know who's playing with the door handle, but they're about to get clocked. I just started to reach for the door handle to make it quit jiggling, to see if it was somebody or something. That freaking door handle, I wasn't even touching it yet. It twisted a little bit and it just popped. Fell on the floor. What the hell? So now I'm sitting there thinking. I go to the window and hurry up, turn the porch lights on and look. I don't see nothing. So I'm watching, and there's a gate out in the front. Because I'd made him a little runway there where he could go off the porch and go to the bathroom if I didn't want to go outside. I seen that yard gate open, and it's shut. Like, what the hell? I don't see nothing. So, I'm thinking, well, I guess I better check and see if I can get out, because otherwise I'm going to have to knock the door handle on the outside was still there. It's on the inside that broke off. I wasn't even touching it. So I undo the deadbolt. Of course, I got the porch lights on. I set the poker back underneath the wood stove. I was like, I got a screwdriver underneath the kitchen sink. I had a great big screwdriver, so I went and got it. Turned that deadbolt. Stuck that screwdriver in there. Turned it. Door come open. So So I grabbed the outside door handle. I got the door open. I grabbed the outside door handle and think, okay, I'll just pull it on out and I'll just use a screwdriver until tomorrow. It wasn't coming out. So I called my mom and she called the cop. The cop come out. He goes, what seemed to be the problem? And I'm holding this little pup. I said, look at that fucking door handle. I said, it was going jiggle, 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 jiggle like that there real fast. I said, so I went to grab it because I thought there was somebody fucking around out there. I was going to clock him with this poker. He goes, really, how did you do that? I said, I didn't. I said, my fucking blanket earlier took off. He goes, hey, we can't help you with a ghost problem if that's what it is. But he said, I don't see you as breaking the door handle off inside the house when you got to get out. I said, well, I got a screwdriver. I poke it in there. That's what ain't the... What's bothering me is who in the fuck tried to get in. He said they'd had to have been inside the house with you to break it off on the inside. Yeah, I guess you got a point. He goes, so was there anybody in there with you? I said, just me and the pup. He goes, that sounds kind of like, and he covered his badge, he goes, paranormal. Gee, thanks. So, we survived that. I woke up one night and something had me by the feet and had me up in the air from like above, above my butt, hold me in the air. And that pup started barking, and whatever it was turned me loose. Never did figure out what the hell it was. But for the next few days, I slept on the couch, me and the pup. Like, fuck this noise. So, I decided I was going to take him most everywhere I go. So I got my big coat on one night, grabbed my flashlight, going to go ghost hunting. So this big coat I had a great big huge front pocket. So I put his little sweater on him. It wasn't too bad out. Poked him in my shirt pocket, and I took his little miniature sleeping bag in case he got too cold. We went ghost hunting. Well, as the years went by, I'd take him with me. Me and him was almost inseparable. Well, over the years, he had saved my ass several times. Kept me from getting sneak attacked. Well, I moved down here. Me and my wife met, moved down here. And I thought, well, if her and the dog get along, good deal. If not, I'm going to have to figure out a way to make it work. Well, shit. He took to her like a seal takes to water. We lived down here for quite a while. One day he started getting sick. Well, I never could prove it, but I think somebody poisoned him and he kept getting worse and worse. In the meantime, there was a stray cat that come up here, and I'd put feed out. She'd eat while I was gone. Well, I didn't know she had kittens under the house. So, a little while passed, and them 2 kittens was growing. Well, I put food out here by the front step. They'd hide inside those steps, wait for me to come in the house, and I'd be watching through the door window. They'd come up there and eat. She'd call them out. Well, one day, I took the dog outside to go to the bathroom. Well, that old black and white cat, she'd call them babies back underneath the house. But them babies wasn't going to go underneath the house. They went in the steps. Now, this dog I had did not like cats. I mean, he hated cats. They had thrown him in as a pup, trying to make him mean with a bunch of male tomcats. That's why he had a thing against cats. Well, every day he'd trying to find those kittens, that old cat. But they was in the step. Well, this one, later on, I caught him. I'd put the dog up, put some food out there, and here he come. So I started petting the old black and white female. He'd come out and he'd just cry and throw a fit. Because I was sitting there by that canned food that he wanted. I was like, if you want the canned food, you got to come out and get it. And in order for you to get it, you're going to have to let me pet you. Otherwise, I'm carrying it back in the house. You can just have your mom's tit. Well, eventually, he was a pretty kitten. He come out, got up there beside me and started eating. So I didn't stare at him. Well, he eat till he pot-bellied. I was like, now you can't run as fast. I reached down and scooped him up. I was like, man, I'm going to get bit. I know I'm going to get bit. But he didn't. Now, he was the strangest goddamn cat you ever seen in your life. He was a slate gray, medium-length hair, and he had these sprigs of hair that come out past his ears. And he didn't look like a regular cat. He was kind of jacked up in the back, and his front legs were shorter. Yellow-looking eyes. From that day on, every time I'd go out the door, if I didn't have the dog, he'd come out, want me to pick him up. So I started carrying him around. Well, one day, I brought the dog outside, and I thought he would stay hid. Oh, hell no, he come out. I was like, oh, man. So I'm thinking, shit. The dog's looking at him, and he's looking at the dog, and he ain't running. But the dog is just froze, like, go ahead and make a move. This crazy cat. The old female and the other one went underneath the house. This crazy little gray cat stood up like a goddamn bear. Stood up, had his paws out, cocked his head, and looked like he was retarded. Well, the dog stopped and looked at him like, what the fuck's wrong with you? And his eyes got real big and buggy looking, and he started going sideways like he was nuts. Like maybe he was making fun of the dog. The dog was looking at him, the dog looked at me. And I was thinking, shit. So I'm pulling in the lead, make sure he don't get a jump. Because if he gets a jump, that cat's gone. Now I'm going with him. The dog just turned and walked off like, that son of a bitch lost his marbles. So we made our round around the yard. Well, I took the dog in, put him in the kennel, and I was going to go out and feed my animals. So I take a little kibble out in the front for those cats. Well, I was trying to think of a name for this kitten. He kind of took up with me, and he kind of growed on me. Well, I carried the kibble out there. The old black and white come out there. I called her Oreo, because she looked like a damn Oreo cookie. And I put some food down there, and here come that other kitten. It looked like the mother, but longer hair. That gray one come out, and he got right in the middle of that food and was trying to swat his mom and the other baby away from that food. So right there, I called him Greedy Grady. Remind me of old Grady on Sanford and Son. Gray-headed like that. So I called him Greedy Grady. After I put the dog up, he get done aggravating the dog in the morning. I put the dog up so I go out, take care of the animals. He'd follow me, and all of a sudden he'd just sound like, he was a little old feller. I'd turn around, he'd be meowing. What do you want, Greedy Grady? And he'd sit there. He'd take one or two steps and then just sit. So I go pick him up, put him in my coat pocket. Well, him and that dog hated cats. But this cat, Greedy Grady, had it in his mind that that dog was going to like him or else. I'd be leading the dog in the morning, and that crazy cat would come out from under the house, out toward the clothesline, and run up and slap that dog right in the ass. And that dog would turn around, like he was going to kill him. Well, I was trying to hold the damn dog. Grady, get the hell out of here. He'll kill you. That cat would just turn and just kind of walk off like he's going to leave. So we try to start walking. Here come that damn cat. All around the yard they did this. Like one of these days, Grady, he's going to kill your greedy ass. And I ain't going to be fast enough to catch him. You got to stop this shit. It didn't stop that cat. This went on for a couple of years as the cat was growing. I guess the dog thought he was retarded. So he sort of had pity on him, I guess. And every time he'd have killed that cat in a heartbeat. Well, over the years, this cat would do this every time I'd take the dog out. I mean, this thing would come out of a tree in the yard and come running like he was going to charge that dog. And by the time he'd get that dog and that dog would start barking and chomping at him, he'd turn, act like he was going to run off, and jump up across, hit the dog's back, and jump over and take off, run around the yard like he was retarded. I thought he had a screw loose. Well, the cat grew fast. He's a pretty good sized cat. Old tomcat. I never did figure out where the other one went to. But the mom still lives here. This cat, I could be out sitting on the bench, and that cat would come up there and sit. If I go out in the back somewhere and sit, look over, that cat was there. I'd walk around the yard picking blackberries and tomatoes. He'd follow me and lay down. Well, the dog started getting sick. Started getting more and more weak. Grady would walk around the yard, not bother him, and they kind of walk within 4 foot apart, all around the yard. The last week, that before the dog passed away, they'd even sat fairly close to each other. And it was like that cat knew. Well, come the day, and I tried everything in the world me and my wife could think of, called the vet, and they said, best thing you can do is just have him put down. He ain't gonna get no better. The things we've told you to try and that ain't worked. All he's gonna do is suffer. Well, that about killed me. Well, that day I got him out and we slowly walked down the yard, and Greedy Grady walked right beside him. I was like, Cat, you got a death wish. The dog's feeling bad, but the cat's walking beside him, and the dog ain't doing nothing to him. Like, well, that's weird. So took and had him put down. I dug a hole, got him out of the vehicle, and wrapped him up in his blanket, and I even put a St. Christopher medal around his neck. I buried him out there by the orchard. Well, I'm not kidding you. It was like the wings of a 747 come off this old boy, because it was almost unbearable. My wife, she was crying. Her and that dog got tight. They would sit around. I'd be in the bathtub taking a bath, and them two assholes would be in the living room floor with a whole bag of Doritos. They would eat that whole damn bag, the two of them. He'd get one, she'd get one. He'd get one, she'd get one. Same way with cheese puffs. Well, I would get done with the bath, and them two would be crunching so loud, they didn't hear me. And I'd hear his tail bang, 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 bang. That's because she was eating a Dorito, and he was ready for his. He was letting her know with that tail banging that he was ready for his damn Dorito. Don't be a hog, give me a damn Dorito. I said, what the hell you guys doing? Nothing. What the hell you eating over there? We eat a whole bag of Doritos. Are you fucking kidding me? Yeah. They eat a whole bag of fucking Doritos while I was in there taking a bath. Same way with those damn cheese puffs. I come in the living room. The dog had a orange muzzle from eating them damn cheese puffs. And she had orange fingers. And they'd both be trying to swallow them damn things before I got in here. So yeah, them two bonded over food. That dog, when it come to food, he was a fucking traitor. But anyway, I buried him and got done, and I fixed up a place there and put some daylilies and some mint. And I planted a couple other flowers in there. And I put up a little monument thing with his name on it. Put a big flat rock for nothing to be digging around there. Well, it come a rain that night. And I mean, it rained like a cow pissing on a flat rock. Well, the next morning, clouds kind of parted and the sun come out. And I got so used to walking him around the yard, when I got up, I grabbed me a cigarette, started out the door, I started to reach up and grab the lead. And it hit like a ton of bricks. My wife started bawling. I had a damn apple in my throat, so big I couldn't swallow the damn thing. I put the lead back up there by the key ring, opened the door, there's Greedy Grady. So I picked him up and He would like to ride on my shoulder sometimes. So I was holding him, he climbed up and wrapped himself around my damn neck like a stole. And I was out there trying to keep from bawling. Yeah, a grown man bawling over his loss of his best bud. Oh, Grady, he's rubbing on me. It was all I could do to keep from bawling. Well, I had to walk around the yard for a while. I was hurt and pissed off. I lost my bud. Well, after an hour or so and several cigarettes, I got my feeding done, and Grady, he followed me around. So I put some food out in the front. Him and Mama Cat was out there eating old Oreo. Well, I was pretty tore up. Told wife, you gotta give me a fucking dog, man. We gotta find one somewhere. I don't give a shit if it's a mutt. I can't be without a dog. This is killing my ass. She goes, if I have to go to hell and back, I'll get a dog. I'll find one. He said, if I have to, I'll conjure one up. But next day, she went to babysit for the grandkids while their parents worked. I mean, the greedy Grady was out here farting around. Well, she called. I answered the phone. She goes, I found one. But before that, that night, the night before this, she was talking to the dog that had passed away and told him to help find the dog. She gave him a description of what she wanted. We was laying there, and I didn't want to just keep talking about it, but she kept talking about it, and I got pissed off because I was hurt. I come unglued. I said, it don't fucking work like that. Just shut up and leave me alone about it. I don't want to talk about it. We got to find another dog. That's it. Well, she started talking again. The dog had just passed away. And I was about ready to fucking lose it. All of a sudden, that damn dog crate. He always had a habit of getting there, and he'd shake, and he'd turn a couple circles, and he'd plop. He didn't lay, he'd plop. Well, I heard that shake, and that cage was shaking. And I thought, well, maybe it's a bad dream. We set up, turned the light on. My wife looked me out at her, and I said, I know that was him. We looked. Nothing. Cage was empty. And the realization set in. I was like, fuck. Well, next day she called me from babysitting. I found us a pup. There's a whole bunch of them. Take a look at this picture and see which one. I called her and she sent me the pictures. Take a look and see which one you like. I looked at those pictures and I said, I like that red-headed speckled one right there. He's so damn ugly, he's cute. Call and see if she still has that one. But she made the phone call and she did. So my wife said, well, when we get done babysitting, we'll go take a look. I said, no, we'll go pick one up. I didn't care if it was a pup. Well, we brought him home. Yeah, he was a pup. But Jesus Christ, was he a fat pup. Well, I was sitting here one night, and I hear a commotion out by the front door. Well, there was a possum after these cats out here. He was wanting to eat, and they was wanting to eat. And he was getting the better of Mama Cat, so I kicked him off. He run across the yard. I come in and grabbed a shotgun, and I shot that son of a bitch. Greedy Gady didn't run, and neither did Mama Cat. It was like they knew that I was trying to protect them. A couple nights go by. I hear Greedy Grady outside screaming. So I flipped the porch light on, grabbed a shotgun, opened the door, and there he is. He's trying to tell me that there's something that won't let him have any food, and it's eating it all. And I look out toward the vehicle. And right in front of us where I poured that food at, there was a frickin' skunk. I looked at Greedy Grady, I said, you know something? That's a skunk. That ain't a cat. I'll shoot most anything, but I ain't shooting a damn skunk in front of the vehicle because that son of a bitch will spray everything, including me. I done been sprayed before. I don't think so. I come back in the house. Fuck that skunk. He can have that cat food. So I went out the side door. Called Greedy Grady and Oreo out there and put some food out there. Well, they was sitting there eating. Them cats knew. They come to that door and scream, and I come out there with old thunder. There'd be a lightning bolt come out the end of that son of a bitch and kill whatever was out there. Well, we kept finding tracks. One track. One dog track on top of my dog's grave. And sometimes during the day, that crazy Greedy Grady, he would go out there and lay on top of that dog's grave. Well, this pup started growing. Now this is weird, it's always baffled me. I got up one morning, take the pup out for a walk like I used to do the other one. Greedy Grady follows all around. He'd let you do anything in the world with him. Hell, my wife even put him in a baby buggy one time, pushed him around the fucking yard. He rode in there like he was born for it. You could do anything with that cat. He would get in my chicken pen, and I ain't bothered the chickens. He was in there catching mice. But one morning, took the pup out to walk him, and Greedy Grady followed us down toward the woods, and we turned left. He went, jumped the fence, went in the woods. So we just kept walking. Because he'd sometimes do that, and he'd come back. We made the next corner. Come up the other side of the yard. Well, I seen this other cat. And lo and behold, it's the cat that we have now that just had babies a while back that y'all seen pictures of in the post area in shorts. There's a short video in there of them kittens laying on top of the Ouija board bed blanket. He sees this cat we have in here now, and he took off with her in the woods. Well, he'd be gone for a few hours and he'd come back. Well, then it got to be in a day or two, and then he'd come back, and then a month. The last time he come back, I watched him come out of the woods. He went to where the dog was buried, stopped and sat there for a minute like he was having a conversation, come up in the yard, found me. I playing with him, and I put some food down for him. He ate, and then he went out past the orchard, and I was hollering for him. He turned and looked over his shoulder when I seen this other cat come out of the woods, and that's this cat here in the house. He headed toward her, and they went back in the woods. Just before he got to the edge of the woods, he turned, stopped, and looked like, bye. last time I seen him. So it made me wonder, was he born knowing that there was a dog here? And did he have premonitions maybe that that dog was going to pass away and he was going to be the one to help me get me through this until I got another one? I don't know. But I do know this, when I'd come in the house, that Greedy Grady would go down there and lay on top of that dog's grave. Like he was grieving too. And there was times he'd be out there laying and he'd be looking down at the ground. Like he was having a conversation with that dog. And we'd found tracks, hell, probably a month after that dog passed away. And they was his tracks. My wife told him he could come back anytime he wanted to. Well, we got this pup here. This pup would whine, and all of a sudden it sounded like two dogs playing in that frickin' crate. And that dog would just be quiet. So I fear maybe he must have been coming back to get this new pup, sleep with him, give him company. And I'd see him periodically. Whenever I was walking a new pup, I'd catch a glimpse of him out in the yard, and when I turned to look full, nothing, but there'd be a track. And I guess once he got the new pup broke in, he figured there wasn't no use for him being here, and periodically he'd catch a glimpse of him in the yard. Like he'd come back to check, make sure I was okay, make sure the new pup was working out. But it's just funny, when you think of ghosts, you think of people that's deceased. You don't think of animals. They have a soul. Why couldn't they be a ghost? I can tell you from experience. That wasn't the first time I lost a dog and it come back. Had a pup before that had him for several years, and he passed away, and I come back from the store after he'd passed away. I'd stayed up with him until he passed away and then buried him. But that night, after I got him buried and I went in the house, he always, when he was a pup, this American bulldog I had, always liked to play in a paper sack. Always. I don't know what the fuck it was with a paper sack. That night, I always kept paper sacks under the sink. And that night, I heard something in the living room, so I got up to go in there and see what the hell it was. There was a paper sack, and there was something inside of it playing. What the fuck? So I grabbed the wood stove poker, like, damn, maybe a coon or something got in. I don't know how many it could have got in. I went, after I seen this sack moving around, and I picked it up, looked in there, and there wasn't nothing in it. So that told me that dog had come back as a pup and was inside that damn sack playing. So, any of you people out there ever wondered if animals can be ghosts, come back? I'm here to tell you, yeah. This happened to me a few times. So if you ever wondered, there's your answer. Yes, they can. And yes, they will keep coming back and visiting until they think they got you through it. That you've grieved and gotten over as best you can, then periodically they'll check in, but yeah, they can be ghosts. And I'm here to tell you. And let me tell you something. I don't like to talk about it, But I figured it was worth saying in case there's anybody out there that is their pet's getting old or they're gonna have to be put down or they passed away. Yes. Or in case they do pass away, yes, they do come back. And they will let you know. Trust me. It's hard talking about this, but I just figured it's something that I'd go ahead and open up and just so I could tell you about how pets can come back. So, yeah, they do come back. They do come back to check on their owners. You know, it's not a thing that somebody else talk about, but it is kind of interesting. And to think that some of these pets come into your life to help you get through that, through the transitional part and getting a new pup, like that crazy Greedy Grady. That cat was ornery in hell. I loved that cat. And I wasn't much of a cat person. I would have been more of a dog person. But after Greedy Grady, I like cats. He changed my thoughts on that. We got this old mama cat in here. She got 4 babies. I got another crazy cat that just come into our life. Another one. I tell my wife all the time that our property is land of misfits. There's me, I'm a misfit. She's a misfit. Our animals are misfits. But we all seem to get along here. So this is like that Rudolph story. Land of the misfit toys, well, this is land of the misfits. And we all fit in somehow on this property, even though we don't fit in no place else. We all seem to collectively get along here. And I had to get after this dog I got now because he liked to be ornery to cats, but it's funny. He's a big-ass dog. If my wife goes in there right now and pick up one of those kittens that's in there, in that big cage, he sits there and whines like he's got a damn pup. You have to take it over there so he can sniff, and he tries to get a quick lick in on the forehead. His damn tongue, there for a long time, his damn tongue was bigger than the cat's. You get him up there because he'd be whining. He'd sit there real still as he could, put it up there because he's got to have a sniff. And all of a sudden he'd go right up the front of them cats' face, and them cats be like, "What the hell? Dog, you stink." And I guarantee you, if one of them kittens in there would make a noise, he'd start in whining and want me to let him out so he'd go in there and see what the hell's going on with those cats. It's funny. A big-ass dog. I used to have to get after her all the time because he's too damn big, and he don't mean to try to do anything, but he don't know how to play with animals, so... But these cats... It's totally different. These kittens. It's funny, though, how these animals can touch your life. They can take somebody as hard as rocks and melt them just like butter. Well, frog's getting a little big in my throat, thinking about Greedy Grady and Duncan passing on, and the dog before that, Daddy. So, I'm going to get off here. But I thought it'd be something worth discussing. Check out the post area. It's If you like anything I've said, give me a thumbs up, leave me a message. I'll answer you. And just think about what I talked about tonight. I'm sure most of you out there have some sort of a pet, whether it be a dog, cat, fish, a bird, hell, maybe even a gerbil, guinea pig, a big-ass lizard. Hell, who knows? But they all do find their way into your hearts. Even my little black heart. I told my wife, I said, mine's black heart. It's been too damn ornery to be red like everybody else's. It's just cold and black. But it warms up with animals and good people. But good people are hard to find. You know, there's so much corruption and bullshit going on nowadays that I tend to hang with my animals. I can trust them a lot better. Never know what the hell people are going to do. Well, think about what I said. If you liked anything I said, give me a thumbs up. You got a pet? Tell me what it is and what its name is. If you want to. If not, that's okay. I understand that too. But I was trying to give you a little insight and give you something to think about. Well, this is Henry. I'll say goodnight for now, and y'all think about what I said. I'll catch you on the next one. Thanks for watching. Have a good night.